there is a rich heritage of music from Detroit, which is where I'm from, born and raised. Some of the artists that are from there that influenced me the most, whether it's music or just work ethic, I mean, I would have to include Kid Rock, Dwelle, who I have actually worked with, Must Be on one of his projects just recently released, features me and his background singer Jay Tate, Black Milk. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Like you said, Jay Dilla. I didn't have an opportunity to meet him, but I became really good friends with some people who were close friends with him. So obviously, you know, when music is good, it has the ability to transcend time, race, gender, all of that. So yeah, that's what happened through Jay Dilla and some people from back in the day, because as a vocalist, the soul and the heart of the music has to do with, I think, the voice that brings it through. So like Stevie Wonder, who's from Flint, Michigan, definitely one of my, biggest inspirations, just to name a few. Yeah, Detroit's hot, but there are a lot of places that I think great art just comes out of places that have a significant amount of struggle. I think great art comes from that. It's kind of unfortunate that you have to go through something really harsh or tough in order to get to the bottom and the essence of what life is about, but that's how you find out. Great art comes from specifically Detroit because of the environment. There's poverty, there's a struggle there, and that begets great art. So how did I get connected with Kim? Well, it's kind of a long story, and I kind of want to give you the long of it because I think it has to do with how important the relationship is. I was first introduced to Kim through his music. A friend of mine purchased his CD at a beauty supply store, okay? And which is uncommon because you don't buy music, at least a CD, at a beauty supply store. And she goes, girl, you gotta listen to this guy named Kim. He's from Detroit. I'm like, okay. And she goes to tell me his story about how he put out his music independently, sold enough albums out of the trunk of his car, that's what we call it, and sold enough albums to get recognized by Motown and sign a deal with them. So that was impressive to me because I wanted to sing. I've always had a natural ability to sing, and that started my journey towards what we have now, which is where I'm signed to Kim's label. What got me from point A to point B is I entered a competition that Andre Harrell was conducting, and one of the stops was in Detroit. I entered the competition. Kim's manager happened to be on the panel, and that is Toya Hankins. She's my manager now. And she was impressed by my talent. I didn't win the competition, which actually turned out to be an absolute blessing because it allowed me the possibility to audition to become a background vocalist for Kim, which was by invitation only. And Toya was the person who invited me. I remember being so sick on the day of the auditions. I could barely sing at all, in my opinion, because I know what I'm capable of. I was having a hard time retaining the music. I was, it was a hard time. But when I woke up that morning, I decided, I don't care whatever it takes. That's my gig. And I went to go get it. And after the auditions, immediately he asked me and one other young lady to join the team as a background vocalist. I've been singing background with him since that was in 2010, and last year he asked me if I would be interested in being the first artist on his record label, which is Chemistry Records, and that's where we are now. So he's my mentor years before we even met personally. So that's how that relationship started. It started with the music and both of our passion for creating great music and making it available to people.
And I felt like that was my only way to breathe and to keep living, was to write all these things down because I didn't speak. And so when I taught myself how to play the guitar when I was 9, it was kind of like putting poetry to music, and it was like this new kind of magic that I had made, and it literally saved my life.
To be considered a man means that you are mentally, above a boy, and boys do things like not consider your feelings and are just reckless and they don't think about the future.
I was seeing someone at the time, but not seeing them enough to care that there's all this money and all these people want me to do is have threesome with them. I was like, I've watched porns before. I know how they go down. Sure, that's easy. No.
I wanted to have a kid, and I think that's a scary thing. I think especially for female artists, like, what will that mean, you know, for my future if I take a break out to live and be a mom?